And we are live.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Who is that, Bruno? Introduce
All
the
right.
guest.
Let's see. We don't have anybody viewing right now. We'll give a couple
All
minutes.
right. Good.
I know this will post, same as last week's. This will record and post to our channel. So those coming, I bet you a lot of people are up watching the New England Patriots and the Arizona Cardinals.
Boom.
Well,
What's the score?
Well, last I knew, New England was up 17-7. I don't know where they're at now.
Gotcha.
I watched my Cowboys lose earlier, so that was heartbreaking.
All right, we got a
We
few.
got a close
We
one.
got a few viewers now coming in. This is the Scotch Test Dummies. I'm Scott.
I'm Bart, showing what we're reviewing here.
What do you got underneath your name, underneath the Scotch Test Dummies there, Bart?
Victim of a throat punch.
Why?
I was a JA.
All right. Also
Hey.
joining us tonight is Whisky Daddy.
How's it going, guys? It's good to finally be on here and be famous like y'all.
Yeah.
Boom.
Talk to the masses.
This was something we've been talking about for probably a year.
Yep.
And I know it was our goal at the beginning of this year to kind of get this set up and get it going and get some of these collaborations going, meeting people, live streaming tastings and doing that. So, Whiskey Daddy, you're our first.
Awesome. I'm glad
First
to be here.
guest.
It only took me about a week to make it happen, so I don't know what you guys have been doing.
Yeah.
I took a shot at it, and then I like crashed and burned, and then we left it alone for a while, and then Scott we had a guru that actually had successfully done it, was doing all kinds of interviews with book authors and kind of walked Scott through. Is that right?
Yeah. Actually, two guys that we work with, one in particular,
In the office.
Josh Hayes and Scott Moon.
Boom.
And they're authors. They write books. They've got a few books out between the two of them, and they're doing these live stream interviews with other authors. So Josh walked me through, thank God, how to do this. Now, what I hear, though, is today is September 11th. On September 12th, tomorrow, YouTube is changing over. We are currently using Google Hangouts, which is what this is set up through. Tomorrow it changes to YouTube Live, and I'm sure the whole process is going to change. We're going to have to figure it out again.
Hopefully a lot more user-friendly.
Yes, hopefully. Tonight we do have, this was Whiskey Daddy's recommendation for us to try, is Auchentoshan 12-year.
Excellent stuff. And it's right in your wheelhouse. Triple distilled, a little bit light and dainty, just like you like it.
Yeah. Well, tell everybody, Whiskey Daddy, about, you was telling me about the Auchentoshan and why it's triple distilled.
Well, the distillery was built in the early 1800s, and during that particular time, it's located fairly close to Glasgow, and Glasgow was going through, it was booming from tobacco, and then eventually from building ships. They were getting huge amounts of workers just coming over from Ireland and settling in and around that particular city. And during that time, there was a demand for triple distilled whiskey that was similar to the Irish whiskey, and so that's basically why this distillery popped up. And they did it in the style that they had over in Ireland, which was a triple distillation instead of the double distillation they were used to seeing in Scotland. And it survived until this day, and I believe now it's owned by the same people that own Bowmore Distillery.
Interesting.
But they kept the triple distillation, but they've only got those three still, so they don't, they keep them humming to meet the demand. So
yeah.
I think it said earlier it was a 1,800,000 liter capacity, and that's about it.
Wow. Now tell us a little bit about yourself and your own channel there, Whiskey.
Well, basically I got started about 6 or 7 months ago. Really, I didn't even start drinking whiskey like I drink whiskey now until about, I'd say, a year and a half ago. I just got completely enthralled with it. Started watching not only you guys on here, but Ralphie on his website, Liquor Hound, a couple more. And I just thought it was really cool, and I would get into it myself. Start building a bit of a collection up, and then you know, getting used to getting in front of the camera and taking notes and talking about it. It's a lot of fun. I love it.
Now,
Good.
Liquor Hound, I am probably like most people jealous of his whiskey shelf. And maybe someday, if we get to be well known enough, we can meet up with Liquor Hound on here, and he can walk us through how he got that thing.
Lots of money.
Yeah,
That's right. You can get it anything you want with enough money.
That's right. He has everything, and he has it as soon as it comes out too. So must be nice.
Hey, the first comment popped up, Bart, and the P Band wants to know. He said he heard a JA will make an appearance.
Oh, well, I'm already here.
But okay, is the JA going to come out,
Oh,
or
well, I don't know.
is he going to stay suppressed?
I never see the JA coming. I assume I'm just being funny. Funny and enthusiastic, and then you kind of let me know. If I shut you down, I know it's gone too far. When you get quiet, and then I know, oh no.
Well, that's exactly what I said when I was watching that. I said,
Yes.
Scott is getting really quiet. He's
Yeah.
Pounce. He's like a jumping spider over there. He's just winding up.
For those watching that haven't watched it yet, this is Sunday, September 11th. On Saturday, the 10th, we posted our Lefroy shootout, comparison of seven different Lefroys. Bart got a little bit excited. There's a little bit of conflict during the video. It's resolved.
Well, we resolve almost instantaneously.
Yes.
Yeah, that's almost standard. It's like if your brother makes you mad while you're playing PS4, it's almost over as soon as it happens.
Yeah, I was wondering if there's any residual after the filming stopped.
Oh, no.
It's kept going.
No.
He's gotten used to me over 21 years.
Yeah.
We are almost like, I saw there was like a married couple comment in there, though. There was a few of those that were like a married couple.
Yeah.
Well, I saw one that asked if you were married. I didn't know if it meant if you were married to each other or if you were just married in general.
Yes.
Yes, we are married.
That's how I'd answer that one.
Yeah.
Just leave it like that. Yes, we are married.
Yes, we are married.
That says absolutely nothing right there.
All right. Let's get into the nosing here a little bit. I got on the first when I sat down and had this the first night. A lemon zest hit me, and the sherry influence of this.
See, I get a little lemon drop. That's my idea was that sweet sugar that surrounds that lemon drop when you first put it in your mouth.
Well, unfortunately, both of you guys are wrong. That's actually mandarin. I got mandarin orange, hits of Oloroso sweetness, raisins, and barley sugar.
Wow. You said barley sugar?
Barley sugar. Or, as I also put, an orange Jolly Rancher.
Mm.
The nuttiness comes out.
I'm not getting the nuttiness. Now I've got total orange Jolly Rancher. Is what I've got.
Orange Jolly Rancher.
And Bart is also going blind into this, but I think me and Scott have actually tasted this before.
Yes.
One of the things I loved when we did that Ardbeg Dark Cove was that this was a chance for Scott and I to go back and, you know, when we first started, we would just do them blind. It was a first experience for us. Then we realized we needed to spend our time with it and get some notes in. But I like the fact that when we did that, I came in blind and I was surprised. It was a real fresh surprise. So I'm going to try to keep doing that when we do these live shows. Just come in total blind.
Okay. Real quick, Victor Torres joined us and he asked what we're tasting. This is the Auchentoshan 12-year.
And this one is aged in a combination of those barrels, so you're getting the Oloroso and the ex-bourbon cask.
Yes.
Now, they said in their notes to watch out for the toffee. I didn't really get that much on the nose. The last thing I got on the nose was peach and raw honey. And that was after it sat out for a while. The water, when I was putting water on it, it just completely drowned in this whiskey.
Yeah, now this is 40%. Um, this is my kind of whiskey. I'll just say that up front. I love it.
Really?
I'm a sherry man, though. I love the sherry influenced scotches. And on the nose, immediately the sherry. But these, for some reason, the Auchentoshans remind me of the Dalmores, and I like the Dalmores as well. To me, it's more of a dark chocolate, coffee, toffee, caramel flavor that comes out with them, and I love it.
You're still talking nose?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you've gone into the taste. I was going to say, I'm not getting any chocolate. See, I'm still going in.
It's a shootout. It's a shootout.
Yeah. Hurry it up. Start yelling at me to drink it quicker. Get it going.
Don't encourage him, Whiskey Daddy.
Well, I didn't get the nutty. I looked for the nuttiness on there, especially with the sherry influence that I knew was in here. So I assumed either because it was Oloroso or it wasn't a heavy sherry influence, I wasn't really getting it.
Mm-hmm. It is Oloroso sherry, and I think it does bring that usual, that plum, marzipan, raisin is in there. Not real strong, but good. Real quick, Lewis Wells has asked if this is similar to the 3-wood. It's a lighter version of the 3-wood, but close. You would recognize it from the same family as a 3-wood.
Hello, Lewis.
It's beautifully sweet, and you can stick your nose all the way in the glass on this one.
I am getting some of that chocolate. You're right. I don't know if I would have pegged it as coffee, but it's definitely in that family where it's a very unique taste.
Mm-hmm.
That the taste surprised me compared to the nose. So
surprised like there's more there.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to go into those. I mean, you'd kind of, when you hinted out with the chocolate and the coffee, I thought, really, with this nose? And then as soon as I got it, there's an initial kind of burst that kind of, I don't know, took over my whole mouth with those stronger flavors that surprised me a little bit.
To me, it's like honey and cocoa nibs right from the very beginning. It's pretty sweet. You're getting a little bit of that toffee in there too, and maybe even like a hint of like peanut brittle right before it goes into the development.
Honeysuckle.
Honeysuckle. Wow. Let me add a little water.
In the notes here, I put some, I don't remember this, said fairly thick and refreshing. Reminds me of a tangerine top-up before the development begins.
Uh-huh. Yeah, a tropical citrus kind of in there. That tangerine or a lime or mango even, somewhere along those lines.
But then it does turn a little bit sour, not like overtly sour, but a little bit more sour, and then you start to get some of those wood tannins coming out right before the end of the development, and it kind of pushes you into the finish. I find the finish, as I told you earlier, to be a little bit short on this one, but it's fairly mouth coating.
Yes.
You do get some residual flavors that stay in there. I don't really consider that a finish, but it definitely sticks around in your mouth for a while.
I would agree. Yeah, it's definitely, I get that coating, and I do get a little bit of that, almost like that caramelized sugars, slow trail finish that comes through, and it does linger around for a while. I mean, it's real faint, real light. You chuckled there, Scott. What? Somebody have a comment?
Lewis Wells said, "Howdy, Bart. He was sorry to hear about the throat punch."
Boom. Yeah, we're going to be changing that tagline occasionally as we move through this episode.
And if you remember, I'm sure you remember Herman Mooker.
Love Herman? The Herman. Hey, it means passion, brother.
Herman wants to know what we're talking about. I should have put it in the title before I clicked live, but this is the Auchentoshan 12-year. So I don't think I can modify it while we are going here.
There's the bottle right there. Take a look
yep,
at it.
We got a couple bottles.
Yep, some bottles. The same bottle. I actually just passed it to him.
That's right.
I've actually got to re-up here because I've been drinking it before we got on.
Now, the Oloroso in this, as soon as the very first sip that I took, I could feel it, taste it, smell it. And like you say, it's a kind of a velvety coating. It just kind of takes over my mouth. And afterwards, it's still there. I get a slight. It's still present, not real strong, but with a 12-year, I don't expect a real long aftertaste with it.
Especially with the fact this has probably been chill filtered and colored.
Yeah, if it doesn't say it,
Yeah,
you got to assume that it is. So now, personally, I wish they wouldn't do it, but that doesn't stop me from buying Scotch.
Right. I agree with you there.
And honestly, when it comes to the flavor of the only thing that I've noticed, but I should take that back. The only thing that I noticed that changes really is the mouthfeel. I noticed that the non-chill filtered products typically have a fairly thick mouthfeel, but even though this one has been chill filtered, it's pretty oily and it's very coating.
Mm-hmm.
Cody, stay tuned. We will do Is It Worth It towards the end of the broadcast.
Really?
Who bought this one?
We shared the purchase of this one. Actually came from our proceeds.
Our fund, yeah. We used our fund. We've been saving the fund up because we actually need to buy. We're looking to buy these little, what would you call them, challenge coins?
Yeah.
And we're going to do some more little, I don't know, merchandise stuff. But yeah, we decided then, since this was directly for the show, we'd use some funds from the show.
And I've actually got to get a shout out to, I don't know if he's watching, but C. Nicholas Brown. He actually gave me this bottle. So it was definitely worth it.
We like C. Nicholas Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like the C.
I don't know what the C stands for, though.
Charming.
Charming Nicholas Brown.
Yeah, that's right. Probably throws that in there.
Now, I did add a drop of water. I'm actually going to add another because it must not have been that much. I didn't notice that much difference between it neat at 40% and with the drop of water.
Now, I was trying to update my little logo here, but it almost seems like it doesn't want to shift over now. Have you seen a change?
No.
Oh, wonder why. Please enter a preset title. All right, I won't mess around with it too much.
Always get weary of putting water in a whiskey when, as soon as you drop the water in, if you're not almost instantaneously noticing a difference, I don't know if it's doing much for it.
Yeah.
Just my personal opinion, but it just, to me, it just, kind of goes in and destroys the palate on this one a bit.
Bart, Jerry D wants to know he loves JA's energy.
Boom.
But he asks, is he sporting a toupee tonight, or did he use just for men?
No, that's it. If I duck down long enough, you'll see the bald spot come in there. If that's a toupee, it's low rent, baby.
I think you picked up your nickname now. It's JA.
I'm trying to think what else that could be. Jolly athlete.
Just ask. You don't even have to ask Bart. He'll start telling you.
Yeah, that's true. You don't need to ask me anything. I'll just open my mouth and go. I'm trying to be a little more reserved when we're live.
Whiskey Daddy, you are actually kind of in the industry. I don't know. I didn't ask you. Do you want to talk about your job, what you do?
It's top secret.
Top secret.
Okay. Top secret.
Yep. So is ours.
Yeah, no, I do. I work for the company here in South Carolina. We actually distribute all the Buffalo Trace products and Heaven Hill products here as well.
How long have you worked there?
Almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Not very long. So just kind of breaking in over here. It's the Republic National Distributing here in South Carolina.
Did you drink whiskey before you started working there?
Yeah, actually, well, I kind of, when the whole craft beer revolution came around, I started drinking craft beer instead of Bud Heavies. And that kind of led me into the whiskey. I had a friend that I was doing distribution work for a different company in the Myrtle Beach area. But it had the little mini bottles with it. Had a 15 and an 18. And I just decided to give them all a try one night at the same time. And I was like, whoa, this 15, this 18 is way different than this 12. What's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
And that just kind of, it snowballed from there, and it had me hooked. Of course, back then I was, drinking Scotch on ice and doing all kind of things wrong.
Oh, hey, whatever way you want to do it.
No,
Well, and that's what on the live broadcast last week when I first started, I was 37 or 38, and my wife thought I drank Scotch, and she bought me a bottle of Johnny Walker Black.
You're who?
On a
What?
cruise.
You got a wife?
But and I mean I mainly drank beer at the time. I mean I had Jack and Coke once in a while, but most of the time I drank beer. And since she bought me a bottle of Scotch, though, I thought, well, I'll give it a try. And I was like, but there was this much whiskey and about this much water and ice, and I still liked it. It was good, but over time, that water just started coming down, and now it's whiskey with just a splash of water or an ice cube in there, and that's how I got started. Yeah.
In mine, I was a big not Sam Adams fan. I love Sam Adams. Still like the Double Bock and some of those thicker beers, but I'd actually caught a big history buff, and I caught an episode on the History Channel that dealt with the history of spirits, and in particular Scotch and whiskeys and bourbons. And when I saw the history behind it, I was really intrigued. And then luckily heard an ad for a whiskey tasting, and got Scott and a bunch of other guys to go to it, and boom, we were off and running at that point in time.
Yep.
It was funny when you guys were talking about the Lefroy too, with Bart liking it so much, because the first real peaty Scotch I ever had was Lefroy 10. I was in a bar with my girlfriend, and somebody had ordered one next to us, and I was like, what is that smell? But I was so intrigued by it, because I was like, it smells like kerosene. And so the first actual heavily peated Scotch I ever bought was Lefroy 10 cask strength. To it, and I suffered through that bottle until I got to the bottom of it. But by the time I bought the next one, I was anxious to get a hold of it.
Well, my first tasting, the only peated whiskey we had was an Ardbeg 10, and I didn't like the peated at all in the first tasting I was at. I loved the Talisker, so I liked the hint of the brine, a little bit of the peat, Cragganmore. But the Ardbeg, I was like, oh my God, no. And the Peat Monster from Compass Box brought me into the fold, really.
A couple of questions here, or comments. Jamie Beaver commented, very first, Auchentoshan, long been known as an Irish whiskey that's made in Scotland.
That is absolutely correct.
Yep. And Lewis Wells wants to know how we peons get B-Tac whiskey.
Well, how him being the peon.
Yeah.
That's for Whiskey Daddy Direct.
Yeah. The Buffalo Antique Collection.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God, I wish I could get a hold of it. Believe it or not, most of those allocations are not handled by the distributors, which is where I work. They're actually handled directly from the distilleries. We have to give the distillery information as far as who's selling what, where the numbers are coming from, and then they send us the allocations as far as who gets it. And once it gets to now this is just in the state of South Carolina, because the liquor stores here actually control all of the distribution, because even our restaurants have to purchase it through the liquor stores. And so they pretty much control everything, along, unfortunately, with a lot of their pricing, too.
Do you have sales in grocery stores there?
No, we do not.
Okay, see, we do not either, and that's we've been being told that causes, I don't know, some dislike for some of the distributors that come into the Kansas area.
Well, the liquor store was saying that the distributor, their distributor, I guess, was telling them that Kansas is kind of on the short list on a lot of that, just because they don't have the volume and they don't have the grocery store sales that other states have. But not I don't think related to the BTAC collection, but just with whiskey in general and overall.
Scotch in particular, yeah.
Well, and the bad thing about the BTAC too is once you actually purchase them from the store, and then you see the prices that are being pulled through secondary and stuff like that, it's incredible how the value of these things can go through the roof.
Yeah.
I mean, it was only 5 years ago you could find Pappy pretty much sitting on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
And now people are trampling each other to get a hold of it. Supply and demand, that right, Bart?
Boom, baby.
Supply demand.
Supply and demand class from The Economist.
Now, we got lucky last year. If you've noticed Whiskey Daddy, or if you saw it, we did get the George Stagg BTAC from last year, which was delicious. Probably the best bourbon I've had. And I still have about a third, maybe a half of the bottle.
And you guys did the Stag Junior as well, right?
Yeah.
I actually prefer the Stag Junior to it. Of course, I've only got one of the vintages for the George T. Stagg. It was a 2014. I'd really like to get a hold like a 2012 or a 2011, back when it was still hazmat strength. It hasn't been 140 in quite a while. If you watch it, it goes down every year. I think, well, that and the word that we've been getting too, and I hope I'm not giving away too much here from the companies, but the Angel share has been quite significant with the increase in temperature of the climate. And of course, they're steam heating a lot of their warehouses too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they're getting the double whammy on them. If you look over the years, the ABV is slowly starting to come down because the Angels are taking too much.
Huh.
Well, see, you just don't, if you're worried about what you say, you don't say that you know that for a fact. You say, what I've heard.
Yeah,
is,
rumor has it.
Yeah.
Through the grapevine. It's kind of like when you're doing that thing in class, you start the secret on one end.
Yeah.
And it gets to the
Whisper.
other end,
But nobody's watching. Nobody's watching, so you can let secrets out. Nobody.
Yeah, just let it go.
Yeah. It's just us. Nobody watches this show. We're dummies. Nobody's paying attention.
Somebody out there's watching it. I can't believe some people are watching mine.
Oh, hell yeah.
I've almost got to 100. Maybe after tonight I'll get over 100.
There you go. Hey, take Whiskey Daddy over 100 tonight, guys. Take him over 100.
Need 3 people, 3 volunteers.
Come on, take him to 130. We got to shoot for the moon.
You know, the thing is that we've been doing this. We're coming up on our third year of doing this. And what you should start to see, there's a gradual increase in views and in subscribers, and then it starts to go up a little bit if what you're doing is good and consistent.
Which does not explain how ours is going.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
that was the next question I was asked. I was like, so how are you going to explain all of this happening?
Yeah. It's basically people like to watch throat punching, apparently, and old men.
The old Granddad episode was fantastic. You guys did a great job with that
one. That was fun.
Yeah. Bart, let's talk. You want to talk about September 11th?
Sure.
What September 11th, 2001 happened, and this is the 15th anniversary of that. And just I'll fill you in real quick. Bart went to New York to help. We are first responders in the first responder field.
We've both been in the military.
Bart went there, and he actually asked me to go with him. Me and the wife had a small child at the time. He was only 1, and I kind of felt like, nah, I hadn't better leave now. So Bart went. I wish I would have went to New York with Bart, though, at the time. He took another friend. They went and helped out. But go ahead, Bart, now. Pick up from there.
Emotional seeing it happen. Saw where some folks were being queued in to assist, and planes started flying again. I mean, that was one of the most amazing things is, you're talking no air traffic at all for 3 days. It was all shut down, a lot of it here in Wichita. And the planes were going to start flying again on the 15th. I was willing to drive out there with the one guy that wanted to go, but I stopped at the airport, and they not only said we're flying, but they said that we would fly for free. We happened to grab some gear that we had, and we just hopped a flight. You could not fly into Manhattan. So the closest they could get us was Philadelphia. We landed in Philadelphia, linked up with law enforcement there, just put us on a train, and then we went right into lower Manhattan, got off the train at like midnight, and walked to the Javits Center. We had some gear with us, we brought with us, and we checked in. It was pretty darn cool, just from showing up and seeing all the volunteers there. We got checked in, and just long story short, while I was there, They put us out actually at the UN building for the first 2 days. They had brought in these sand trucks, filled them with sand, and had the streets all blocked off. They were worried about car bombs or something. I don't know. And then the last, well, not the last day, but probably the third day we checked in, they actually sent us down to ground zero. You had to go through a few checkpoints. You get fitted with a filter mask because there was still a lot of dust and stuff down there. But the only thing going on at ground zero at that point, they were using heavy equipment to move debris. Things were still burning a little bit. But on occasion, they would find either evidence of luggage or something or remains. So then they would stop the heavy equipment, and they would you would go in by hand with what they called the bucket brigade. While I was there, we didn't do any. We were just on standby. Surreal moment. I was glad I went. So we were there for, was it a week? Can't remember. It might have been just shy of a week, and then we
I
came
think
back.
so. 7 to 10 days, maybe 5 to 7 days.
Yeah, 5 to 7. So, and then they made sure they told us, hey, make sure you're taking downtime. They wouldn't overuse you, which was interesting. So we ended up with some time where we actually just walked around. One of the coolest things we ran across while we were there, we were just walking, kind of looking at the sights. And we went by where the Dave Letterman show was at. They stopped us and said, hey, nobody's flying in, and we're doing a show. It was their second show. So they said, if you guys want to come, we just sat in the audience. But it was not a humorous show. It was the second show. So I thought maybe Matthew Broderick was there, but it was just kind of a surreal moment. I was real happy to have gone. Probably the only thing I missed was they asked if we had certain gear that we didn't have, because they wanted to put us out on patrol actually with the NYPD Manhattan group, and we couldn't do it because we didn't have some of our stuff with us. So when we showed up, I told them I'll flip hamburgers. I don't care. You can put me anywhere you want. And so it was kind of cool. Enough said on that. Probably it's been 15 years. I have some photos somewhere. I may get them to Scott, and he'll throw them in on the recorded deal. I don't even know if we can do that. Are we able to put in?
I don't know if you can edit the finished product or not. Maybe at the end or something.
So, but yeah, wish it hadn't happened, to tell you the truth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think we can all agree with that one. I was actually in college, but my mother had actually moved to New York in 1999. She spent 27 years here as an upholsterer. She owned an upholstery place, and then she just decided that she wanted to move to New York and become a paramedic. So
Wow.
So she was actually first on the scene there. So she had some pretty horrific stories of the stuff she saw. But she helped out for about a week there with the cleanup.
Yeah. There was, when we got there were a lot of guys that were just they'd been going nonstop, so they were all stressed out, and they were basically getting them off the line. So they'd been there for 4 days straight when we got there, I think. So
just real quick, let's look at a couple comments we had come in. Odd Art, I would assume it's Audible Art, an abbreviation. Bart and Scott just watched the Lefroy poop out. You should try to get a hold of last year's car chase. Whiskey Papa just reviewed it. It's his favorite whiskey. This is Audible Art's favorite whiskey from last year, maybe ever. I think he's talking about Whiskey Daddy by Whiskey Papa.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow.
The 200th anniversary car chase.
Now it's I would pronounce it Cardias, but it's car chase
or Cardass. That's what it looks like. Yeah, it's once I did some research into it, they said the easiest way to pronounce it is just say car chase.
Huh.
So I mispronounced it for about a year before I actually did the first video, and I said it correctly. Thank God.
No, we don't. We don't ever say it correctly. That's part of the charm, though. We can just say we're dumb. We're dummies. Sorry.
Kind of like when Scott says Oogie Doll.
Right.
It kills me.
What is it?
Well, you don't say Oogie. It's just Oogadol.
Oh, Oogadol?
Oogadol. Yeah.
Oogie.
Not Oogie Doll.
From now on, I'm just calling it Oogie. That's it.
Of course, now I may actually be saying that wrong.
Yeah,
I mean,
from
been saying it right this whole time. You know,
Oogie
right.
dog.
No,
Oogie dog.
yeah, making a proclamation. Henceforth, I'm calling it Oogie. Period. Paragraph.
somewhere there's a couple of Scotsmen that are laughing at us.
Oh yeah, if we ever go there, we'll probably get beat up. I'll be throat punched 15 times.
But they always say don't take it as seriously as wine. So
Oh,
we shouldn't worry
please.
about it.
Yeah, you run into a wine snob. Nobody wants to be that serious.
Yeah.
Well, Whiskey Daddy, you got one new subscriber. Cody Fasig just subscribed to you. So he's going to be watching you.
Go Cody. There we go. I know
Um,
Cody.
And Arash Nadi said Bart just got lifted from the JA level to the hero level.
Oh, no. You know, I will give you a sidebar story that I don't know if I've ever put out. On the flight back, we board our plane, and there was a gentleman. I went up and ended up talking to him, sat down next to him. He was actually from Saudi Arabia. There was a lot of tension on the flight, kind of just, I mean, you know, not from us, but there was a lot of folks that were just nervous with his presence. And I actually went up and sat down next to him and said, you know, asked him, can I sit down next to you? Can I ask you a few questions? I just don't understand how a group of people would even do this. And he said, hey, I'm from Saudi Arabia. And then he went through how he didn't understand how anybody could do it. He actually worked in a financial bank. So it was very interesting to just sit and talk to him. And we sat and probably chatted for about 30 minutes. And that was probably one of my better moments too, because he really explained a lot of perspective from where he was coming from, and he was Muslim. So it was just that was very interesting on our flight back. So,
All right. Well, we're at the we're at 37 minutes. Let's get into is it worth it real quick. Now, on our end, this bottle was $50. So I'll be the first to say, if I was gonna distill whiskey, this is the kind of whiskey I would distill.
it would be the kind you would
It
distill.
would. Yes, I love it, and yes, it's worth $50.
All right. Well, I'll pop in, and then we'll leave it to Whiskey Daddy to give his
Yep.
moments. I would also say, yes, definitely worth it for that price. Now, most of you know, or for those that haven't tuned in, I lean toward the peated, but I love Scotch in general, and this has a lot of flavor transitions that it moves through. The nose is pleasant, and then the palate surprises me, and that's exactly what I'm looking for in a Scotch. I'm looking for something that has a little bit of complexity, that takes me in some different areas that maybe I didn't expect to go. So yeah, it's definitely worth it from my point of view.
I would probably go ahead and say it's worth it as well, especially coming from the fact that a lot of other 40% ABV Scotch whiskeys you're going to find for the same price value are not going to give you, as Bart said, the amount of complexity you're going to find on the nose and the mouthfeel that you get with this one as well. The finish to me is a little bit short, and I don't like that. But as Scott said, it's a 12-year, it's 40%, and chances are it's been colored, and that coloring can have a tendency to really snap that finish short, especially at a lower ABV. It just kills it. But all in all, I was very, very happy. I didn't pay for the bottle; it was given to me, but I thought it was quite good. I mean, when you look at it, you would say, okay, maybe it's not colored, but then if you hold up the light, it's almost got this. It's got that.
It's not real dark.
Yeah. And
a lot of them that they do.
Much Oloroso in there. I would say it's more of a splash of that in most of the ex-bourbon.
I think we can agree in most. I think most folks. I would prefer things not be colored. Give it to me in the regular way it is. I'm kind of like Scott. I don't get overly concerned if it's colored, but I would prefer it not be changed in any way.
Exactly. And if you haven't had a triple distilled whiskey from Scotland, I mean, it's going to be a go-to. I mean, because when you start thinking about it, it's not, everybody always associates lowland whiskey with triple distillation. It's actually not true. This is one of the few ones that actually do it. I mean, Campbelltown does a triple distilled product, coming from Springbank, but that's just one of their lineup. Their other lineups, double distilled or 2.5 times distilled.
Those coffee notes are still there, and that's definitely. I almost get a little bit of tobacco now too, just a hint. Kind of a raw tobacco, and that's not strong, but I can kind of pick it up in the background, and I love that.
Are you getting some of that spiciness on the mid palate that I'm picking up here?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. I was just gonna say real quick on the colorant. If they did add colorant, it's not that much, or it's not near what other distilleries are adding, because it's not that dark.
No.
So
I have no
If
opinion.
if we lived in Germany, we'd be able to just look right on the label and it would tell us.
yes,
Really? In Germany, they have to
They-
see if it's got coloring in it?
Yeah, if you ever get a chance to watch Whisky.com in English, unless you speak German,
I don't.
he can actually tell you each and every bottle that has coloring, which ones do not, because in that country it has to be stated on the label. So
Huh.
when
I
they
am a
export it to them, they have to add that to the label, but they don't have to add it to the label in Scotland or here in America, even though, you know, our native spirit of bourbon can't be colored.
huh.
a couple
That should be
comments.
controversial.
Couple comments real quick. Adventures in Whiskey says he thinks Cardias rhymes with purchase, so it'd be Purchase,
Purchase.
Purchase.
That's
Well, I
entertaining.
know that Liquor Hound kind of pronounces it like that. He calls it like Purchase.
Purchase?
That's how he says, yeah.
Okay. And the P Band has asked, what branch did we serve in, Bart? I was Kansas Army National Guard.
I was Army Reserve. I was a medic in a light infantry company.
I did special electronic devices repair.
What was that again? What'd you do?
39 Echo, special electronic devices repair.
I was a 91 Bravo, baby. They've changed that designation like 3 times, so that doesn't mean anything anymore. But I went to Fort Sam Houston for medic training.
Fort Gordon, Georgia. It was a long AIT, like 38 weeks long. So I was there for almost 9 months.
Wow.
But I also had a air-conditioned trailer that I worked in.
Oh, no. I was out in the middle of Fort Polk at one point, just getting destroyed by insects. And yeah.
Do you play golf, Scott?
You know, I did in high school, and I'm from a small town in northwest Kansas, and that was about the only thing to do, and I haven't played it since.
Because that golf course in Fort Gordon is fantastic. It's like
Really?
Augusta National. Yeah, it's
Yeah, matter of fact, I remember that, Augusta, Georgia, and they had it as one of the PGA tours or something that played there, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I had a buddy of mine that I used to bowl professionally, and a buddy of mine was in the military. When we would go and bowl a tournament there, we would go and play at the golf tournament, the golf course.
We've got a buddy that's a huge bowler. A couple of them.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you guys live in the best collegiate bowling town ever.
Yeah, WSU, right?
Kansas, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They've had the best collegiate bowling program for years.
Yeah, our buddy coaches that team. Or
Oh,
helps
really?
coach. Helps coach, yeah.
That's awesome.
So that, and then there was a golf course at Fort Sam. I was on it, but I was not golfing, and that's all I can say at this point in time.
All right. Well, I suppose we better wrap it up. We are hitting the 44-minute mark.
All righty, that's a good time to end it.
DH Silv 2. I know you comment a lot. You've been with us for a while on our videos. I know you just joined. You just saw this was going, but we're about ready to sign off. This was the Auchentoshan 12-year. We did not score it, but we all give it that it is worth it. And now in our region, though, too, also Whiskey Daddy, I said this was $50. You said yours was purchased for you, but do you know what this goes for there?
In my area, it's a little bit higher. It's going to be more in like the $60 range.
Really?
Yeah, I'm typically higher on just about everything here.
Huh.
Unfortunately.
All right. Well, this was
Still worth it. Still worth it at 60 though.
Yeah.
Still worth it. Yeah.
All right. Well, Scotch Test Dummies and Whiskey Daddy.
It was great to be with you guys. Thanks for letting me come on and share some knowledge and get some knowledge back.
Yeah, you bet. Hopefully
Awesome.
we can do it again.
Yeah, good to meet you. And like I said, everybody go out and go subscribe to Whiskey Daddy. Give him some numbers.
That's right.
Thanks, guys.
Bart, you gonna sign off?
That's it. It's a good bottle. You know what? I'm digging this.
No, you usually say Scotch it, you Scotch gods.
I was headed towards that.
Oh.
Sorry, was I being a JA there? Was I got a little nervous, thought maybe you were going to throat punch me because I wasn't hitting your timeline. So let me just say, Scotch it, you Scotch gods.
Cilantro.
Cilantro.
Dummies.
Dummies.